Hey y'all, Billy from Perma Pastures Farm. Okay, we're going to talk about something today that really nobody ever really talks about. And it's a question that I was recently asked. So we're going to address it today, especially since it's really relevant to what we've been doing lately. Well, if you look behind me, you see this woven wire fence. Nice and tight. Hey, we did a great job, but we had to clear a lot just to get to this point. Now, folks, I'm not going to go into it, but this is a survey map for my property here. For security reasons, for a number of reasons, I'm not going to just disclose it right here, but let's just suffice it to say that I have them. And there's markers, there's engineer markers in the ground. Now, when people are buying new property, they're wondering, and I've been asked this a number of times, should I pay for a survey? And I'm going to tell you from where I'm standing, and as a person that's bought a number of properties, I'm going to give you a resounding yes. And the reason why, because in the past, and there's a couple of friends of mine up in Kansas that can attest to this, we had a survey done in a piece of property that we jointly purchased. Now, up there, typically acreage goes in somewhere of about 500 to 1,000 acre tracts. Well, where we were, we had a little piece of that carved off from a farmer, and there was a way we went about purchasing it, which I'll probably cover in a later episode. But let's just say there was a survey done, and no kidding, that engineer's mark went right through the middle of the neighbor's barn. And by the way, it was a barn that was largely abandoned, and it was kind of requisitioned. Now, I'm not sure how this was done, because typically they're not going to, section off a place where it runs through the middle of a barn. How it happened, I'm not entirely sure, but it created an enormous amount of discord because of it. And as I recall, we weren't even really making too much of a big deal out of it. We were just letting them know, hey, this is where the survey went, right through this barn. Well, a series of unfortunate events unfolded, and, I won't get into too much of it right now. Let's just say there was a bunch of nonsense that unfolded. There was another piece of property we bought where the people around there were aggravated that Grandpa's 1,000 acres went into probate when he died, and all of it was sectioned off in the tracts. Well, we just happened to buy one of those tracts, and people were so aggravated about how everything was laid out that they were literally stealing our compost. I'm not joking. That was literally happening. And then even in a recent event at another piece of land that we acquired, where the person there was claiming, and this, I can't even tell you how many times this has happened, because we purchased property, some would say a clever way. There's a way we go about it that we do, and I'll probably share it in the near future. But one of the neighbors was saying, yeah, I'm really sure that the property line has been cheated to your way, even though there was a current fence through there. Okay? Well, to shut all that down, folks, and the way to keep friendly neighbors is to mitigate all those problems by paying a little bit of money. Sometimes it can be a lot of money to get a survey done. And that's exactly what we had done here. It was contingent when we bought it. So the survey was done, and any notion of who owns what is taken right out of the equation. In fact, if you look at this post right here, this is where the line was to my neighbor's side. And the same thing with this T-post over here. And I've left them up for, well, I'm going to get back to them. I'm going to take a Sawzall, cut that down, and take this one out. And there's a series of other ones in there just to make it known. To anybody that wants to know, hey, I don't think that property line is where it is. Well, number one, there's rebar into the ground along with engineer tape to let you know where it is. And it's actually 4 feet that way. Now, the reason I didn't take the full extent of my property is because down right through the middle of it, and folks, this is a lesson for all of you people out there running wire, never attach it to trees. And if you do, well, don't, okay, first of all. And if you do, make it a temporary basis, because this line was literally growing right through those trees. Well, I can't work with that, but it made more sense for me to cheat it back to my end of the property. But folks, there is a number of people out there thinking, okay, do I spend that extra $500 for a survey? I'm going to tell you without a doubt, and I got a number of friends out there that can tell you too, spend the money. Because if you want happy neighbors and you want to keep conflict, you don't want any Hatfields and McCoy stuff going on. So to avoid all that, you want it in black and white, and you want a legit survey done. Unless, I mean, there are examples where you don't, but when you get raw land or land where there is no fencing or old fencing or fencing that's messed up, you're going to want to spend that extra money just to keep things really, really happy around you in terms of your neighbors, and so you don't have those kind of conflicts. Because once they start, like the example up in Kansas, I'm not sure it ever stopped. So get ahead of things, pay for that survey, especially if it's raw land. It's well worth the money, and it's going to save you a lot of aggravation in the process. So until next time, this is Billy, the Permaculture Pimp Daddy, where PIMP stands for permaculture is my passion. We'll see you next time.